You're listening to Big World Network.
Cardinal Directions, Episode 1, Season 1, written by Michael Young, narrated by Jim McGovern. A BigWorldNetwork.com author collaboration. My name is Artemis Anders, and if you are reading this message, then congratulations. I have encoded it in every written language known to my species across its existence and have translated it into various languages understood only by our computers. I realize the chances of it being intercepted and understood are still quite low. At least that's what my friend tells me. Most of the time, I do trust his judgment, and he has trillions upon trillions of times more calculating power than I do. So if you're reading this message, I commend you. You're obviously of superior intellect or have advanced sufficiently to have marvelous technology. I know this is only an assumption, but if you will allow me, I will also assume you will be advanced enough to comprehend and appreciate, at least in part, the contents of this capsule. I have cataloged them for your consideration as a full history of the human race and the planet we called Earth for thousands of years according to our time. We started humbly and grew into great empires that rose and fell, all the while inventing, striving to become something greater. In the end, it was these very qualities that proved our undoing. If after reading, observing, and experiencing my record, you wish to give us a second chance, I have also included in this capsule all the genetic samples that you will need in order to begin our race anew. If this finds a suitable planet and a benevolent host, I entreat you to do just that. Before you embark on the entire story, I ask that I be allowed to tell mine. I feel that you will only be able to understand the history of the human race as I have compiled it for you if you understand its narrator. I feel that I am uniquely qualified to tell the story as I was, in truth, the very last man on Earth. To understand me, I do not feel that I need to tell you my entire life story. Many of the earlier years of my life might seem rather mundane. Instead, I will begin with the greatest attempts by a time traveler to change history that had never before been attempted by a human. As I write tonight, I have already been at the sanctuary for 25 years. The last of those years I spent in careful calculations, trying to determine the point at which the fabric of time would prove weakest. In this past year, I had not attempted even a single excursion into time, saving up temporal energy so that when I did attempt to change the past at a critical juncture, I would cement the changes with the force of an enormous asteroid crashing into the planet. This had happened to our planet before, and somehow life continued to thrive. This cosmic temporal disturbance would be the equivalent. Things will right themselves over time, though they might not look the same. On the morning of June 27th, I was about to make the attempt. I'm not sure why I still bothered keeping track of the day, month, and year, but in a strange way it provided a bit of normalcy to my seclusion with only a fancy computer for company. I have made some adjustments, though. June 27th was my self-decreed New Year. With no one around to object, I could hardly see any reason not to decree this. June 27th was the day my first life ended, so to speak. I lost my first family in the war all at once, a wife and 3 children gone in an instant. This event caused me to choose rebirth into this life of complete seclusion, last of all, hermits atop this mechanized monastery. If you know anything about us humans, you'll find that many of us enjoy symbols, patterns, things in which to find significance. If you ask me who started it, I've no idea. I'm not sure anyone knew. I finished running my calculations, even with the help of Zychus. My computer of near deificability took some time. If your civilization has not yet delved into time travel, I have a suggestion for you. Don't. It's as maddening as it is complex, and I practice it only because I had nothing else to do. All the time in the world is a common expression among my kind, and once I was a man who nearly had achieved this. I located a single day on which the fabric of time was most susceptible to be torn apart and stitched back together into an entirely new cloth. Zychus informed me that I had completely filled our temporal energy stores, and so the changes that I made would be stamped on reality with all the force it was possible to muster. I brought with me only a single pack of supplies, also methodically collected. I find that in time travel, the less you bring with you, the less likely you are to leave something in the past where it could be easily lost or unintentionally alter events, such as the time I left a small robotic companion that I used for research in the home of a man named Julius Verne on an excursion a few hundred years back in time. I'm not sure the details, but the man made quite a name for himself composing fanciful fiction thereafter. I stood at the door to the temporal chamber, trying to slow my breathing. I would have only one chance at this, and so had expressly forbidden Zeitgeist to tell me the odds of my success. I could tell from the way he spoke that even he did not harbor much hope. "Artemis," said Zeitgeist, "is there something wrong? Your vital signs are within normal parameters for someone who is nervous and about to attempt a difficult task, and yet you have not moved. Is there something wrong that my scanners cannot detect?" "That's Master Artemis to you," I said, continuing a long-standing feud. All other computers had no problem referring to me as Master, but Zeitgeist was not like any other computer. To prove to the computer that I wasn't a coward, I placed my hand on the scanner and the door opened. I stepped through without further hesitation and took a few steps down a narrow catwalk to the central platform of the time travel device. Though the time machine had some official-sounding name, I had taken to calling it the compass because the platform had 4 different directions in which a person could go, 4 different time streams that could be open at once. It was sort of like having a bookmark in time, holding open the page in case you wanted to go back. They stretched out in the cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. "I have opened the appointed portal to the north," said Zeitgeist. "It seems somehow fitting. Straight ahead and never look back." With a final intake of breath, I steeled myself and ran northward through the open door.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.